Hi, this is Wendy. How are you?
Doing great, Wendy. How are you?
Good. So I actually just called to give 2 points quickly. First of all, I just wanted to really congratulate you all on your amazing coverage during the convention, and also
Thank
just
you.
to say a word of thanks for no problem. Also to just say a word of thanks for not immediately shifting gears, as I've seen many quote unquote progressive news outlets do, to all of a sudden force us to vote for Hillary Clinton.
Oh yeah.
And I also appreciate that you've been sort of on course in terms of being realistic and critical of her platform. So even though now she's the only one left of the Democrats for us to vote for, I still appreciate that you're holding her feet to the fire and basically doing your job,
Yeah.
as opposed to simply ignoring some of the problems that remain,
Yeah.
and that based on some news coverage that I've seen, potentially could get worse. So I appreciate that and hope you continue that as we hit the next few months go forward. But the
Thank
other
you.
thing, really quickly, that I just wanted to mention is that one personal observation that I have had in terms of this election, that especially lately, because I see the pressure ramping up again, you have to vote for Hillary, you have to vote for Hillary, you have
Yeah.
no other choice, Trump is so bad, is that I feel like a lot of my friends and family and colleagues and whatnot who are of color or who are marginalized in some way, who are Muslim, who are black, who are fill in the
Hmm.
blank, a lot of us are just kind of like, I mean, we're scared of Trump, but we're also scared of Hillary. So there's
Hmm.
a real sense of like white guilt going into this process. Like, you black people need to be afraid. And I'm like, but you guys were standing by laughing at Trump when we were telling
Yep.
you months ago,
Yep.
before he even got serious, that he's scary.
Yeah.
So I just appreciate that you're keeping it real all the way through. And thank you for that.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for that call. I do the best that I can to keep it real. It is not easy. But I tell you what, it's not. I'm not tempted one iota to be like rah 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 system by Hillary. I already told you guys months ago, if Ted Cruz had won the nomination for the Republican Party, I would most certainly be wearing a Hillary Clinton t-shirt right now, because to me, he is the devil. Ted Cruz is the devil. Hillary, you might think Hillary Clinton is the devil. I firmly believe that Ted Cruz is the son of Satan. Um, because he's Donald Trump plus religious zealotry. Think about everything bad about Donald Trump and add on religious zealotry. Yeah, Ted Cruz is worse. But other than that, I have nothing in me that wants to make me listen. What I'm tired of is, I think Scotty said it, the cult of personality. We are here to hold our candidates and political leaders accountable, not here to be their damn cheerleaders. And even though we are fighting against this monstrosity that is Trump, there's two things you have to keep in mind. If we had a stronger candidate, Trump wouldn't even be a question. Right now, they would be a stronger candidate would be leading Trump by 20 points minimum. So the fact that we have a weak candidate and we're actually having to fight against Trump is part of the problem in the first place. But the second part of the problem is that just because we are trying to make sure that Trump never gets in power does not mean that we should engage in behavior now that is going to underscore a manipulative, dictatorial type of anything goes. I can get away with anything because my audience and my supporters would never hold me accountable type of behavior. If we, as people who support progressives and people on the left, cannot bring critique to progressives and people on the left and even some Democrats, then we have done ourselves a disservice and we've given them a blank pass to do whatever the hell they want to do. And we can't do that. You know, I get that Republicans play the dog whistle so loudly with President Obama that most of us kind of closed in ranks to do whatever we could to protect President Obama, because the Republicans were some racist sons of bitches, right? They were just disgusting. But because we closed those ranks around President Obama, we failed to hold President Obama accountable on a lot of issues. Droning, right? Some economic issues, his attempt to give away a portion of Social Security. Black Lives Matter didn't do a damn thing for the black community, not a single iota significant thing for the black community, except lecture us about kids who have to eat Popeye's chicken for breakfast. You know, I almost called him an MF. You know, that's the kind of stuff that he gave us. But because we had this reactionary, we had to protect our first black president from the racist Republican Party. We can't make that same mistake twice. And I have no type of affection for Hillary Clinton that would warrant me, closing ranks and trying to protect her from criticism. I wasn't on the air back then, so it's not really my fault. But I imagine if I had been on the air back then, I would be caping the hell out of, I would be caping for President Obama, right? Because of how ridiculous the Republican Party has been. Right. But that's not, well, thankfully, I wasn't on the air. Now I'm on the air with clearer eyes, and I can realize that all of us trying to protect President Obama actually hurt President Obama as well as the progressive movement. We did not hold him accountable. And I just don't feel like we have any love for Hillary Clinton enough to do the same thing. I don't. I won't. You may, but you got to come by the Benjamin Dixon Show and come by my desk before you get away with it. Here's the other thing. There's another little bit of nuance. It's the Republican Party's fault also, because we need a party that is capable of bringing some valid. I mean, sometimes you need your opposition to help you with your own candidate and your own political leader who's lost their damn minds. But the Republican Party is completely incapable of being a valid hedge against let's just say a tyrannical Democrat. Why? Because they've labeled everything as tyrannical. They've labeled everything as socialism. They've labeled everything as communism. They've Benghazi to the 1000th degree, right? They drove Benghazi so far down the rabbit hole of stupidity that when the email situation servers came up, everyone dismissed it as a right-wing propaganda, right-wing hit job. When in reality, there was some real substance there for us to have a substantive debate. But the Republican Party, as the opposition, has become so ridiculous that we can very easily just brush them to the side and say, they're all idiots. They're all conspiracy theorists. They're all racist. They're all sexist, and they're all absurd. So why would we ever listen or believe anything they have to say? It's the boy who cried wolf. But in this sense, the wolf is racism, misogyny, bigotry, and everything else. Now nobody believes them. And so here we are having to carry the entire fight of holding our own political figures responsible when in actuality, the opposition could have served a useful purpose in holding our candidates accountable. I know it's a little bit of political jujitsu there, but that's the role they play. And that's a role opposition parties should play. There is a need for opposition, but when you have become as absurd as a Republican Party, no one will ever believe you. And so what do we have? We have liberals who are already gearing up to say anyone who criticizes Hillary Clinton is a sexist. You have Republicans who just are incapable of bringing a valid critique without going over into stupidity and insanity. And all that leaves us with are people like me who don't care that much for Hillary Clinton. I don't see her as the devil. I don't see her as the worst thing in the world. I just see her as a person who I'm going to have to stand in opposition against, probably on, if it's Tuesday, I'm probably going to have to be on the opposite side of an issue with Hillary Clinton. If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press. If it's Tuesday, she's probably trying to find some and pass some policy that I have to oppose.